Yeah, so I've been getting laser, but I think I started it last year. So yeah, I think it was last year. But I only did 6 sessions, but you have to wait 4 to 6 weeks between each session, and then if you go on holiday somewhere hot, you have to wait until your skin gets back to your natural skin tone without a tan before you can go again. But it's really good actually. Like I've noticed a massive difference because, for example, like under my arms, I think also because over the years with shaving and stuff, my hair was getting thicker and
Oh,
it would grow faster. Whereas I noticed even after the first session that the hair is like super like baby hairs, like baby fine, really thin, and it doesn't grow back as much. So I've said the 6 sessions, and then that was with like independent. It was like this girl basically. It was like her small business, and then after that, I found somewhere else where Tina goes to, um, and the prices are like half price what she was charging me, and it's not just hair, so it's a proper clinic. So now I'm gonna go to them tomorrow,
oh,
see how it goes. But I went for a patch test and it was really good. And the ladies who work there, they're all like Asian or have darker skin. So especially with Asian hair, it's a lot thicker probably than what I have. So they were like, "Oh, you should be fine. Did a patch test and everything."
all right.
Yeah, I mean I think it's worth it to be honest, just because I just find shaving so irritating.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I don't feel comfortable sometimes if I haven't, especially my underarms. So I like to just not have any hair there, but everywhere else I'm not really that bothered. But under my arms is somewhere I was like, oh, it'd be nice just to have because it's just irritating when I have to do
Oh,
it.
shaving.
Yeah, when I have to do it myself.
That's mad because I think for me personally, I've never like. I mean, obviously back in the day, I used to like use like Nair and stuff, and then obviously it started to burn. And I just didn't like it, and then reading more about the dangers of the cream.
Yeah.
But I think obviously when I started growing my hair out and just kind of just having that mindset of hair's supposed to be there, so I'm just gonna see what it's like because I think I had that mindset of our hair's dirty or you're not supposed to have any hair, it's not feminine. And I think when I then like intentionally started my like self-love journey, I think at first I was a bit like, ugh, I can't imagine why I have hair under my armpits. But then with time, I was just like comfortable with it. But I think now I'm kind of in that space of I want to cut it off for that new transformation and that new journey.
Yeah.
But it's like you've just reminded me that I have read where it says if you shave, it does come back a bit faster and it's not good for the skin. I think also if you shave in comparison to like sugar waxing or finding other
Yeah.
alternatives to remove hair. But I don't know if I'll be brave enough to do laser, you know. I thought
Do you know
about it in the
what?
past, but
I don't know, it's weird because I feel like my journey with body hair has been so sort of full circle, very up and down. But I think like I don't mind having body hair to be honest. Like even with armpit hair, I think it looks kind of cool when people dye it and stuff and they have different colours. And I did want to do that. But I feel like I don't know, I just feel more not even comfortable, but I just like how it looks more. Whereas for example, I like body hair and I like it on other people. I think it's very I don't know, when I look at someone who has like no hair at all,
yeah.
I just feel like I find it odd just because I'm like, oh, but you normally would have hair.
What do you mean no hair at all? The whole body or like
Yeah, I mean like the whole body, or like when people like have no pubes at all. Like that's something that I'm always like, oh, just because then I think pubes are like kind of sexy. Like I think it looks nice because you look like you've gone through puberty. Like I think it's very weird when people don't have any hair, but that's just me. But and I just think it's like, oh, it just looks strange
yeah.
to me. Whereas I like when I have pubes and I like when other people
Yeah.
do, just like maintaining it. That's the only thing that I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, fair enough. Um, but yeah, so I think for me it wasn't like, oh, I'm really insecure about having body hair and I don't want to have it. It was, I think for me it was more like, oh well, if I want the choice of do I want to shave, do I not? But at the same time, when I did want to shave, feeling lazy about having to shave.
Yeah.
And then with my underarm hair, it's always just been like, well, I can just have that off
Yeah.
because I'd rather just have it down on my pubes anyway.
Oh, okay.
So to me, to be honest, I feel like it was a good choice. Like I don't feel like I've wasted any money or I've not had a bad experience. The first time I had it done with the other laser lady, I could feel it a bit more
What do you mean?
because her laser machine was different. So
So what is it exactly? Like what was she doing? Like
So-
walk me through it. 'Cause I mean I've seen videos and stuff, but like it's different when it's like you're speaking to someone that's gone through it.
so what she used to do was I'd go in and then you can't have any like deodorant or moisturizer on, so you'd baby wipe to just remove any oils or anything on your body on the affected areas. And then, like, let's say for example I was getting my stomach done, or like my pubic triangle or whatever, I'd have to wear like a thong. Basically it was like a face mask, but it was like a thong, and then keep your bra on. And then she would come in, and then she'd already done the patch test and stuff, so you knew your settings.
So what's that, the patch test?
And the patch test is just where she puts a bit of the laser on a little bit of your skin, just so the machine can test your shades of melanin. And so it knows, because you've someone with darker skin, so it needs to be set to this temperature. So she'd do that, and then she'd get like a cooling gel, and then she'd sort of layer it on the area you wanted treated. And then she had sort of like like a vacuum, the way the vacuum has the lever, like the thing that you suck up. It looked kind of like that. And then she would basically work that over the area that she'd put the gel on, and then it would zap, like little quick zaps of light, and then that would sort of burn the hair, the hair follicle, basically.
So is that the whole point? Is it burning like where your hair should grow?
So what it is it goes into the skin. From my understanding, it targets the hair follicles. So like, where you've got your barrier of skin, the hair follicle grows underneath.
Yeah.
So the hair follicle basically is a big root, basically.
Yeah.
So like, even underneath the skin, the hair's still there.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So if I had the hair, it would be like this, and the skin would be a barrier, and then the hair pops up from the skin.
It's literally the laser goes through the skin.
No, it just targets the skin barrier, and then it just zaps.
What's in the skin? What's the kind, like in the skin barrier?
It's just like fat, tissue,
and a bit of the hair follicle.
Bit of the hair follicle, yeah. So it just zaps it into that. But I could feel it a little bit, but like nothing crazy. And obviously if you can feel it, you should decrease the temperature and stuff. Yes. But this clinic, it's like I can't feel a thing. Lasts literally 10 minutes, like so fast, so quick. And it's not rubbed down. It literally is, they draw the area in with white chalk just so they know where you're gonna do, and then they just hover. It's like a light over it. That's it. Right. Then you're done.
Oh my god.
Technology.
But it sounds mad to me, because like, I don't know, like I do now. No, I think for me it sounds mad, because I do believe hair should be there. I think now more it should be trimmed. So I think for me, I then start to think, I think it's all amazing and dandy that there's technology, but then I start to think like, but what's it actually doing to the skin? Like, what's it genuinely doing? Because I know like when something new comes out, it's revolutionary and everyone wants to do it. But then going back to like nature and how natural, how things are intended to be there. Like I believe you were born to, like sometimes you're born with certain things to help you maneuver this life experience. So then I think with hair, that's something that's very important. Like, don't get me wrong, I think when I then think, like when you were explaining that it targets the follicle, then I'm like, but is the whole purpose of laser for hair to never grow back?
No, because with laser hair, it's not like 100%. Like I think it literally just depends on your skin tone, how many sessions you have and stuff like that. Because there's no 100% guarantee you're never gonna grow hair again. Yeah. It's not like that at all. It's probably one where they say you have longer periods of time where you don't grow hair back. Like some people grow hair, they shave, the next day it's there. Do you know what I mean? So obviously for those people getting laser, it would be probably nice for them, because then they're like, oh, don't have to shave until next week, or don't have to shave for 2 weeks or whatever. So for them, it's like, oh gosh, at least I have a bit of respite. Yeah. So it's not like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get laser and I'm never ever going to grow hair. Like it really depends on your body, your skin and stuff. Like some people will get hair and then they might decide to go for top-ups. Some people will just get it because they're like, oh, I don't want to shave for the next 3 months. Yeah. So.
Wow. It's mad because I think, thinking about all of this, I'm getting all these thoughts in my mind about like going back to like the idea of body hair and how we view body hair, because I think through listening to you, it made me question like my relationship with body hair and the reasons why maybe I've not gotten laser, or if I'm trying to find other methods to trim my hair, how. Because I think for me, for a while, I think going back, I think when I then allowed my hair to grow, I found that at times I was more ashamed of like how I would be perceived in public spaces the first time I did it. And then I think I then really got used to it, but I think I'm still learning how to love the hair on my pubic area publicly, if that makes sense. Like when I'm presenting it, because I just love it. Like I think like the other day I was saying, like I love it. Like I was laughing because it's so lustrous and so like it's got so much
volume,
and like even just the look of it, it's like a gorgeous little
little
curly,
afro,
kinky afro. It looks so stunning because there's a luster, like a shine, you know, like the shine the shampoo adverts always looking for. So I do love that, and I think even when it comes to the body hair situation, I think I was like me more. It goes back to spirituality, I think, for me, because I was just like, well, in regards to what my spirit is feeling is right for me, for a better understanding. But I do feel like this time, especially my behind, I'm like, okay, there's times I'm like, I like it there, but sometimes I'm like, let me just cut it off.
Do you know what? I just feel like you've got to go with whatever you feel. I just think it's like a personal choice. Like, I mean, I think whatever, you know, this is your life. If you want to do it, do. If you don't, you don't. I think you just got to do what feels comfortable for you. But I think for me, I don't know how to explain it. Like, see, I don't know. I feel like I don't like having loads of pubic hair when I'm on my period.
Yeah,
that's something that would frustrate me so much. Like getting caught on my knickers, or especially because I feel like down there when I'm on, it's like a fairness. So it's like already I'm feeling really hot, and then it's just like added on with the hair. I would just feel sometimes uncomfortable if it was really hot and stuff like that. So then that's when I was on, I'd be like, right, I need to have it like trimmed, because I wouldn't want to get caught on the pad or anything like that.
And even when you're on and you have a heavy flow, just the wetness sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it feels uncomfortable.
It feels uncomfortable.
But at the same time, there have been moments where I have had my body hair and I've just been like, oh my god, this is great. Like, this is amazing. I think especially as a teenager, I used to love that, because I think, especially at the time, it was sort of felt like a statement, just because at the time it was all like, oh my god, you don't shave, and people would sort of shun you. You're like a social pariah, or you felt like there was a lot of stigmas, especially as a woman, that you have to completely be hairless, and you have to look perfect, and only boys can have pubic hair and actually look how they were intended to look, but girls, we need to look like we're 12 all the time, and it's all very bizarre, very weird, and overly sexualized. Of course. So I think as a teenager, I loved having body hair, because I was just like, I don't know, just it's kind of like I was doing like a fuck up to, it was like I was telling to fuck you. Exactly. So I think that made me feel empowered at that time, because I was like, oh my god, like I'm going against the grain. But then I think as I've gotten older, I've been like, okay, but like, am I now doing this because I want other people to perceive me as this way, or is it genuinely how I feel inside? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because then also as I got older, I was like, okay, but like I'm not also shaving just because I'm like, oh well, I don't care. So it's like, well, not everything that I do needs to be a statement piece. So I think then I just started thinking, well, okay, what do I want to do? Because I remember being in uni, and a lot of the time I was just shaving because I was like, I just feel like you have to, and it's, it's embarrassing if someone sees me naked and I've got body hair, like it's not on. So I was using like the nails and stuff. Of course. And obviously you've got to find what's right for your body. Like I was reacting really badly to, I mean the nail I never reacted badly to, thank God, but
really?
No, but I knew that it's not good for you. Like people were saying, it's it's not good long term, the chemicals. But with the razor blade, that's something where I was getting like ingrown hairs, and that was making me even more embarrassed than the actual body hair. So I think once I sort of got a good relationship with having the hair, then it kind of made me think, okay, well, Terry, what do you want to do? Because if I've got a hair, I've got a hair. If I don't, I don't. So I think it was sort of establishing how I was feeling, but it was very transitional, and it was very dependent on what phase of my life I was going through. Whereas I think now, obviously being 26, I don't really care about what other people think. Whereas I think when you're a bit younger, you are more volatile and susceptible to external validation, like external opinions. Whereas now I'm just like, okay, like if I have hair, someone sees me naked, who cares? Like I actually think it's nice.
It's nice. No, I agree. I think I can second especially the last statement, because I think for me, when I was intimate and I was like, do you know what, I am going through the self-love journey, and I went through the intimacy, and the partner I was with didn't like care. I think it then completely broke down
the barriers
and the internalized like cultural conditioning of women shouldn't have hair,
and societal as well.
And societal, and I think now I'm like, again, I'm now in this phase where I'm like, I'm now relearning what my body doesn't like, and what it will take when it comes to me now finding more healthier ways, in my opinion, of removing the hair where I'm comfortable, because I think I am really ready to see that, because I'm like, oh my god, I now want to see what she looks like. She's so beautiful, like my pubic area. But I just think it's a journey, I think, because I think everything is always linked to your self-worth, really, or your opinions of yourself, which is self-worth and self-love, because
Yeah.
like you just said, it was you discovering what worked for your body after having gone through the ingrown hairs. Because I went through the same thing with razors, and I just couldn't be bothered anymore. Like, I just couldn't be
It's
arsed.
not worth it
It's
at all.
not
And
worth
it's like the
it.
pain that you go through. It's
For
just so
nothing.
uncomfortable, and then the
Exactly.
scarring afterwards.
Oh,
So it's just so you just have to think, oh, why am I doing this? And
Yeah.
I think if I could go back in time, I would just say to my younger self, just wait. Because I think when
Yeah.
you're a teenager, you are so rushing to be an adult and like
Yeah.
doing what everyone else is doing. And I think also it was sort of that pressure, because to be honest, our hair naturally, I think because of our genetics, is not thick
Yeah.
compared to other people. We barely get hair in places anyway.
True.
So we're not even the types of people who should have been shaven when we
Exactly.
were shaven. So I think if I could go back, that's something that I would definitely tell myself, just to like hold back on that, because me shaving, I was thinking I was doing the in thing, but then it only then caused other insecurities like the ingrown hairs and the scarring from that, and like the pigmentation, which would have been maybe lessened or prevented had I not done that. But also I might not have gotten to this journey where I feel the way that I feel if I hadn't gone through that. So
True.
I
No,
think it's just one of
that.
those things.
It is, but I think adding to what you were saying before, even when it comes to the fact that our hair doesn't grow that much, I was thinking this the other day. I was like, imagine maybe, because I remember when Mum said in year 9, like, why are you shaving? Because her theory to me sounded crazy, because she kept saying, well, genetically in Inandina foods I don't have hair. Like, she was basically saying all my hair got burnt off and I was cooking on an open fire. So when I think in year 9, she must have said stop shaving, because I'd been doing that thing. So I thought it was so cool. I don't know if it was a scary movie that I watched and she was shaving her legs, and I wanted to do that because I thought, oh, that means I'm a grown up.
Yeah.
But the moment that I didn't stop shaving in year 9, my hair's not growing back.
See.
So I was like, imagine if a crazy theory, if you apply that like way of thinking, like to when you do shave, and you're like, you know, my hair grows less and less, my hair grows less and less.
Exactly.
Then it does condition, because you can change your genetics through, you know, speaking to it and speaking, affirming these words of power, because you are powerful. But yeah, that's very interesting.
No, honest to God, it is. And I think, yeah, I don't know, it's really crazy, because I don't think we're the only people who feel this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's quite a universal subject, especially when it comes to, especially with black people as well, I think.
Oh yeah.
When it comes to hair, like how you look in society, and like you said about the commercial, not the commercial, sorry, you said about watching Scream.
Scary movie. Yeah.
Wait,
remember?
Scary movie and Scream not essentially
Yeah,
the same
but
thing?
it is. But I think Scary Movie is a skit of Scream.
Like a parody.
Like a parody, yeah.
Got yeah. Oh, with the Wayans Bros.
Yeah.
Wayans Bros. Yeah. Right, get flashbacks.
Does it say that? Wayans or Wayans?
Wayans.
Wayans. Are they the Wayans?
I'd say spot Wayans, but I feel like people say Wayans
W-A-Y-N-S.
Bros.
Wayans.
Yeah, something like that.
Sorry, go on.
But no, but I remember when we first moved to England, and I remember seeing, I think it was like a Venus, Gillette Venus. I'm your Venus. That one. I remember seeing that, and I was like, whoa, like, what is this? And I don't know why, but it's just like seeing this like grown up lady in the tropical rainforest shape. I don't know why, but like
when
in
you
my
say
head,
it out loud,
we
and
say it out
it's
loud,
just
it's
terrible
insane.
what they do.
I know. No, it's
That's
actually
terrible.
is. Because I remember, like, they really knew who they were targeting. Because I remember
course they
looking
were.
at them, and I was like, oh my god, that looks so cool.
Yeah.
And then I literally remember just going to the bathroom, getting a razor. I was literally like,
10
about,
eyes. Oh my god, I remember.
yeah, and I remember shaving, and it's like I had no hair, but it was just because of that commercial. I was like, oh my god, that looks amazing. And then because obviously I'd never seen a razor like that before. I'd never used one before, and there must have been obviously like little hairs, like, you know how babies you have little hairs anyway. So I must have been about 8, and I must have, not knowing, tried to remove the hair that was on the blade by sliding my finger across it to get it clean, not knowing that obviously it's gonna fucking cut me.
Oh my god.
And then it's just like, oh my god, like the things you do as a child, like you're so impressionable,
yeah.
so impressionable, and then it's just thinking, wow, okay.
poor Taddy with a bleeding finger.
Oh my god. And then it was like, I remember I was asked, oh, like, how did that happen? I was like, oh, do you know, so they cut me in the bathroom.
Wow.
I know, and it's just like, this is...
Yeah, this is deep, because when you think about it, like, it goes deeper, because imagine, like, what your kids have got access to, or because of these adverts that they create, because it's not, they don't ever show you the negative sides of those things, because when you really think about it, the adverts of the sexy woman, I mean, this is a deeper conversation, but, like, they don't show you how the impact, like when you really think about it,
Yeah.
the impact of those adverts and the reasons why, because when they target these people, you're only sexy if you're in a tropical rainforest and you're shaving your hair, and it's for the male gaze. It's never for
definitely.
a woman, because if you were to get real women on these adverts now, you'd be seeing them running in trying to shave really quickly for their, you know, their schlong appointment or whatever appointment, their kitty appointments or whatever they've got to do. And if they had realistic adverts and showing people what really happens, because I think even seeing those adverts, it was phenomenal. You know, the single woman, even for me, I think there were moments where I was influenced by that, because I was just like, oh well, that's what the sexy girls are doing.
Exactly.
And the irony is, it's funny having this, the conversation has gone to this, but I must have been looking on one of the acting jobs, and one of the adverts was for like a big drink company. And the type of person they were looking for was the stereotypical look of the big bum, the big lips, and the, you know, and the I'd say the Kardashian look, you know, that look that they were looking for. And in my mind, I was just like, this is insane, because like even for those simple things like Pepsi's and these adverts, they've always got to look
a specific prototype.
But
But also, I just think it just shows you how how silly it is, because, or how temperamental or conditional all these things are, because back in the day when we were growing up, to have a big bum, people thought that was an eyesore, and people didn't like that. You would actually get made fun of for having a big bum.
To get made fun of,
even having big lips, stuff like that. There's the quote-unquote Kardashian look that like is probably in right now, wasn't in back then. Like, people wanted to look like Kate Moss, people wanted to look like Naomi Campbell. It was really like you needed to be extra thin, be able to wear super low rise jeans, have a little bit of your belly showing. Like, that was what was sexy. You know, to have like maybe B-cup boobs. You couldn't have big boobs. You couldn't have bigger bum. You couldn't have big lips. Anything like that. You had to be like stick thin. And I remember growing up, that was like the in thing to do. Has to be super skinny. Whereas now it just shows you that, okay, just because right now this generation, it's all about the, oh my gosh, okay, we want people who have like BBLs, and want people with thicker thighs, want people with bigger boobs, big lips, you know, like Botox, whatever, you know, veneers, whatever it is, you know, all the surgeries that are popular that are in right now. But it just shows you that in a couple of years' time,
something else will be
popular. So it's not even a reflection of how the women look in society or how we should be looking. It's all just dependent on
whatever's being pushed at the moment.
Exactly.
But it's so insane though, because when you're saying that, I remember when I'd see girls that were, you know, I would want to say it, African women, black women, like the natural black woman and what she would look like. Maybe I don't want to say natural in terms of that's the look, but you know what is encouraged maybe back home, where they think the bigger the better, the juicier, the tastier, you know, that mindset. Because it's funny, when I used to watch like old school like rap videos and you'd have the thick girls, I remember like that was like that was insane to have. That wasn't popular at all. And I think what's really sad, I think, now is the fact that these young girls, that something must have come on my TL on YouTube, and I was really like, this is insane, where there's new trends of getting skinnier cheeks, or this, because I'm not on social media like Instagram and all that, so I'm not sure what is trendy, but like seeing how more and more BBL stuff is coming up, and just to think like people are investing their money on the now rather than thinking about the future, like thinking about, well, yeah, people are saying it's non-invasive, they're moving fat from one place to another, but what actually is it doing in the long run to your body? Because regardless, when you are intruding and protruding in something, you are going to get a reaction back, whether it's 10 years, 15, 60 years. It's like when you eat food, you might not see it when you're 18, when you're eating all that junk food, but you are going to see it later on in your life. You know, because things do progressively take time.
But also I think it's the emotional state too, because I think a lot of insecurities are inwards, and a lot of them are to do with how you view yourself in your mind. So sometimes, I mean I've never had plastic surgery, so I don't know, but I've just seen people say things online. Or, you know, I've had one person who's gotten like a rhinoplasty, and how they've said it's crazy how it was all when you get your nose. And they sort of said how even after they got their nose done, they just kind of realized that it was more in their head. So like, even though they had their nose done, to them it still didn't look any different because it was all more mental. So I think that with some people who get plastic surgeries, it's like, okay, yeah, you probably feel amazing, but then how many people actually still feel like that after they've had the surgery and it's healed? Because a lot of people think, oh, once I get this done, that insecurity will go away because I'm going to look different. I'm going to look how I've envisioned in my head I'm going to look. So it's so easy to get dysmorphic about it. Is that a word, dysmorphic? But like, body dysmorphia, exactly. About it. And then once you actually get it done, sometimes it's really difficult for you to change the way you actually look to the way you look in your head. So then that's what's missing. So that's, not paralleled.
I mean, I'll just say how I see it in my head, but I personally do think it's an insecurity thing. I feel like when it came to surgery back in the day, like when they started to introduce plastic surgery for people that had gone through accidents, I think that, for example, was such a beautiful miracle cure. But I think now when it's now available for cosmetic use in regards to changing the way you look, I do believe that you should at least be given some type of counselling, or you should go through some type of, I don't know whether that's the case at the moment, where you're given counselling where they assessed whether you should be getting the surgery. Because I have watched like documentaries on YouTube, I think it's like Truly, the YouTube channel, where you see people that are coming out and they've done such extremes now where they genuinely are in a space where they've now completely realized that they can't do anything about changing their body anymore, because they've realized that actually it was an inward thing, because I still have not reached perfection, like you were saying. So I do think some of the decisions that are made are from insecurities, and from the fact that in society they don't give you solutions to things, they create problems, then give you solutions that are actually adding to the problems that they created in the first place. Because I'm in agreement. I've never had surgery, but I genuinely do believe it comes from insecurity, I really do.
I don't know, it's just such a tough one, I guess, because obviously some people get surgery and they're like, it's the best decision I've ever made. And then some people get it, and then I guess it's kind of one of those things where you can maybe become addicted if there's more things that you notice that you want to change. And then sort of like a slippery slope for some people where they don't know where to stop, and then sort of becomes like a bit of an addiction. So it's just one of those things, I guess, in life where I think it's amazing knowing why you're doing something and having time before you actually do something to reflect on whether you want to do it. Like, I always think that about any idea that I ever have, especially when it's something to do with altering my body, like if it's getting a piercing or getting a tattoo. I always think, right, okay, I'm just gonna wait a year and a half, see if I really want it. And then, to be honest, that's what I kind of did with my piercings. I was like, okay, I'm gonna give myself a year or two. If I still want it, I'm definitely getting it, because I know it's genuine and it's not just a fleeting thought. Same thing with tattoos. I'm always like, right, I have an idea, but I'm gonna wait, make sure that I actually want it. But obviously I know some people who are very impulsive, or they just think, well, if I want it, I'm gonna get it, and then they have an idea of what they want and then they just go and get it done. That's fine, that works for some people, but I personally, I just feel like I'm one of those people where I really want to make sure that I want to do something, especially when it comes to stuff that's going in my body. Like, I need to have done the research, I need to have contacted the people, I need to feel comfortable. There's a lot more that goes into it for me. So I think that's why I don't really regret, any of my piercings or like my tattoos, because I'm like, okay, well, I know I've extensively thought about it. Anything that I am going to do to my body, I've already thought out, planned, researched, so I know it's a foolproof situation. But I just think a lot of it is just down to the media, society,
other external influences,
how we perceive ourselves. So I understand how difficult it is and how easy it is to be like that, because there's certain things that I know for a fact only came about because of external sources, or because of the media, or any pressure I felt, especially as a woman. Whereas I think we are just very lucky that we've gone through such a long journey, and we're in the spaces where we can actually think about things differently than how we probably would have done had we been a little bit younger.
But I think that's the privilege that we have also, that we've got information and we've got access to the right information, and we've got access to communities, whether it's individuals in our personal lives that you can always go to and, you know, kind of share your ideas or what your thoughts are. So then you always have a rounded or well-rounded experience of receiving information that is conducive to your evolution, wherever that direction leads you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was very interesting.
I agree. It's a good little snippet. We were expecting to talk about this as well, so
it just came through. So
it's happened naturally.
I don't know that we should just do the intro at the end for this one, and then for the first one.
Yeah.
Start again. Okay, well. It's okay. It's natural. It's the first one that we're ever doing. So I'll let you introduce our channel.
Okay, right. Okay, so welcome to our channel. The channel name is the Munodawafa Sisters.
Say that again, girl. You really stutters on our last name. I don't know. Ancestors are not going to be proud. Don't you worry. I think I'll say
it.
Yeah, right. So welcome to our channel. So it's the Munodawafa Sisters. So the two sisters are
Tariro
and Ruvimbo. So thank you for tuning in, and yeah.
Welcome to our channel. Hope you enjoy.